you mention that doctors, American doctors in Gaza, are having to not only act as doctors, but as journalists. So here is Feroz Sidwa and Mark Perlmutter schooling CNN, really shaming the American media on just how they have failed to cover this crisis in the way that now, as you mentioned, Dave, earlier in the previous segment, doctors are being forced to.
And the whitewashing performed by the American and Western European legacy media is directly responsible for 100% of the 100,000 kids that are acknowledged to be dead or which have yet to be found because they're buried under the rubble. And if the media cannot acknowledge, for example, that 1948 even happened and educate their viewership about the sequela of that, then you're not going to either investigate or report on the babies that were buried alive in the mass grave that's not even 100 yards from me. The issue is that when it's a thunderstorm in Palestine since 1948, and Israel says it's sunny outside, the American and Western media, I'm not picking on you specifically, but the media in general, says it's an absolutely beautiful day.
So you're an independent journalist. What does it say, Dave, about the state of the American media that it falls to two doctors? This isn't even their field. It falls to two doctors to basically school CNN on their complicity in not doing the basics of their job.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot. And like what Dr. Perlmutter has been through, with him, you could really tell in his interviews when he first came back that he was really affected by his time in Gaza. And it's kind of, I don't know what his view on the situation was before, but I mean, the fact that just an American going in there and seeing those atrocities, of course you're going to be shocked, and understanding how complicit the U.S. is in this. I mean, that is what should drive all journalists to kind of expose U.S. complicity and these war crimes that are being committed with support from the U.S. I mean, yeah, I mean, it just says it is a really kind of sorry state of affairs that it is up to these guys to do this. And like I don't even see, like, I don't know about you guys. I don't pay too much attention to kind of the political scene in Congress and everything, but it also, besides kind of the bad media coverage, like I just don't even see any real opposition among the Democrats. I thought maybe that would grow now that this is Trump's taken over. But it almost seems like this is barely even a blip on the radar with all kind of the other domestic stuff that's happening. I mean, obviously Chuck Schumer is Mr. Israel, but I would think to see more Democrats kind of coming out against this, but I just haven't seen that.
Yeah, the most you're seeing is some tepid defense of Mahmoud Khalil, and they're even couching that in, now I don't agree with what he says, but I don't think he should be deported. And you're also seeing like CNN, I think Abby Phillips pressed, I forget who it was, Scott Jennings and some Long Island, some Nassau County executive. That was a funny clip that went kind of viral. Yeah. Just basically arguing for due process, which, to be honest, I don't know if they'd have made that argument under Joe Biden. I really don't know. Under Biden, they may have just let that go. Maybe because it's Trump, they're pushing back a little bit. But this really reveals the sort of bipartisan foreign policy consensus in this country in a huge way. I mean, I think you're probably seeing slightly more pushback under Trump than you would under Biden, but not all that much. Not all that much. And from the Democratic officials, higher up, meaning, House members, senators, very, very little, almost none.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, it just feels like there's no real momentum in Washington, like on, going against this stuff at all. And that's pretty discouraging, because I thought maybe it would grow because they could make this, about Trump now. And then also with the media, I mean, I know you guys want to get into the Israel killing more journalists in Gaza. I mean, wouldn't you think like any reputable media outlet would want to express their opposition to the U.S. supporting this mass killing of journalists? I mean, at this like unprecedented level. And
I mean, after Assange, none of that surprises me. Like,
yeah,
the fact that so few of them spoke out
Israel.
about Julian Assange,
Yeah, no. I mean, they're not going to speak out about Israel. They're all careerists. I mean, this is what I have the book behind me here. This is what Taibbi wrote about so well in Hate Inc. Nobody has to come and tell you what you can and can't report on. You figure it out by who gets promoted, who gets the plum assignments. By the time they get to the level that they'd really be mouthpieces for these huge corporate outlets, you don't have anyone of that kind of quality who's really going to take a stand. And on the rare occasion you get one like that, like Dylan Ratigan, who's going to go on the air and go off in one of those outlets, they're gone.
Please clap.